Hey guys, my name is Blake Cadwell. I'm the co-founder at Soundly.com. And in this review, I'm going to be reviewing the world's smallest hearing aid. Now I'm actually wearing the product right now. And if you look into my ears, deep into my ear canals, you'll see absolutely nothing. That is because I'm wearing the Phonak Lyric hearing aids, which are put inside of my ear. They stay in 24/7. I shower in them, I can swim in them, and then I go back to the doctor's office. Now, I've been fascinated by this product for a really long time because it really delivers on the promise of a totally invisible hearing aid. I've been wearing it for about 3 weeks, and I'm going to answer some of the big questions that I had going into the trial. Some of them are, can I wear earbuds while I'm also wearing these hearing aids? How does that sound? What is the overall sound quality like? Is it better or worse than a traditional hearing aid? And is it comfortable or uncomfortable? Do I feel a lot of pressure in my ears? In this video, I'm gonna dig into everything I know so far. I'm also going to show you the Lyric adjustment tool, which allows me to change the volume or put my devices asleep. It also has an element that lets me take the devices out. We're also going to talk about some new news from Lyric, and that is that the FDA has cleared users' ability to change their own lyrics every other time. So instead of going in every 2.5 to 3 months, a wearer will now only need to go in every 5 to 6 months. We've got lots to cover. Let's get into the review. All right, so the way we're gonna structure this review is we're gonna start with the basics. I'll give you just a little bit of a sense of what this product is all about, where it came from, and how you would actually get it if you do decide to get Phonak Lyric. Then I'm gonna talk to you in depth about the process. I'll actually take you into the clinic with me. I'll show you the testing process, the process of putting it inside my ear. I'll share some of my experience, what it actually felt like once the Phonak Lyric devices were in my ear and what happened over the next few days. All right, so let's start with some basics about the Phonak Lyric devices. As I already mentioned, they sit deep inside the ear canal. Basically, you've got a tiny little hearing aid that's wrapped in a soft foam outside layer that sits inside your ears for around 10 to 12 weeks, at which time you'll take them out entirely, throw away your old hearing aid, and put in a new pair of Lyrics. Now, unlike most hearing aids, which you purchase up front, Phonak Lyric is actually secured through a subscription process. You'll become a subscriber to Phonak Lyric, so I will not bury the lead here. These devices are quite expensive. You'll pay somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000 per year in order to have that ongoing care. All right, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the process of getting these devices. Now, like most prescription devices, you'll need to go to a local clinic in order to get these hearing aids in your ears and get set up with an account with Phonak Lyric. Lyric has a network of providers around the country. Now, it's important to note, it's not every clinic. So if your local clinic may not carry Lyric, you'll probably need to go to their website, search your zip code, and find a clinic nearby that does support Phonak Lyric. I found a fantastic clinic nearby that's very comfortable fitting Phonak Lyric hearing aids. They had a plaque on their wall that said they were in the top 1% of Phonak Lyric fitters, so I felt really confident that they knew what they were doing. The process for me started with an ear examination and a quick ear cleaning. From there, we did a full hearing test, including pure tone, bone conduction, and several other steps to give my audiologist a clear picture of my specific hearing loss. We then had a quick consultation, and she talked to me about whether my hearing loss could be a good fit for Lyric. In my case, I have a cookie bite, but she felt comfortable that she could fit my particular hearing loss configuration and program the devices to match my hearing loss. This was also the point in the appointment when she asked me questions about my medical history and made sure I don't have anything that disqualifies me from being a Lyric wearer. From there, it was time to get the devices in my ears. She measured the depth of my ears and the size of my ear canals. She picked a device size. She has a number of different ones she can choose from. In my case, she chose small initially, and she put them inside my ear canals. Immediately when she turned them on, I heard a little pop, and suddenly I was hearing sound as if I had hearing aids in my ears. Now, of course, I put my hand on my ear, nothing, no feedback. I put my finger inside my ear canal, I'm not even gonna feel anything in that case. If I look directly inside my ear canal, I'm not going to see anything. My audiologist even took a photo on the side of my head to show me that I literally can see nothing. I can't even see the blue little strings that are on the end of this device. These hearing aids are totally invisible in my ear canals. That's pretty amazing. But of course, it also means there are no buttons on board, so I can't adjust anything. These also do not connect through Bluetooth, so I can't use an app to adjust these hearing aids. So you might be wondering, how do I actually adjust my Phonak Lyric hearing aids while they're in my ears? Let me show you. The key to adjusting my hearing aids is in this little keychain, which of course you could hang on your set of keys if you want to. You simply unscrew this magnet, which sits inside of that tube, and you use the magnet to tell your hearing aids what you want to do. So the first thing that I would do is I would put the wand inside of my ear, and I could put my hearing aids to sleep. I'll do that now. So I hear 2 beeps, and that puts this hearing aid to sleep. Now, it doesn't totally turn off the amplification for that hearing aid, but it makes it much softer, and this is actually how I've been sleeping with these Phonak Lyric hearing aids in. Now, the other option is that I can use the wand to actually change the volume. So this is how the wand is used. Now, I haven't been adjusting the volume on a regular basis, so the main reason that I've actually used my wand is to put the hearing aids to sleep when I go to bed, and then to wake them up the next morning. Now, another question that I had during the appointment is, what if I need to take these hearing aids out? I cannot reach them. I can't get them out with my fingers. I certainly don't want to put tweezers down my ear and try to pull them out. Good news is the Lyric team has thought about this, and inside the same tool, you'll see a little hook. There's a little blue string in your hearing aid that you can just hook with this yellow part on the tool that I'm holding now, and then you just slowly remove the hearing aids from your ears. Okay, so once the hearing aids were in my ears and I knew how to control them using my wand, I left the office and I immediately started to experience a few things. The first thing I noticed is that the sound quality in these hearing aids is a little bit different. In one way, it felt more natural. And my audiologist had explained to me that Lyric hearing aids actually use analog sound versus digital. So they're not cleaning up and reprocessing the sound. And in that way, it felt more natural, or more like what I would normally experience with open ears. Now, the other component to that is that I was hearing a little bit more background noise. For example, when I was driving my car, I could really hear the components of my car. I could hear the door closing. I could hear my seatbelt clicking. I could hear more kind of ancillary sound around me. Now, this took me a couple of days to get used to, but eventually my brain started to tune out those extra sounds. And in general, as I'm wearing these now, Phonak Lyric is giving me a really natural, clean, and clear sound. Another important question I had for my audiologist is whether I could use earbuds with these hearing aids in my ears. Now, as I've mentioned, they don't Bluetooth stream, and I make phone calls all day long. So I need to be able to use earbuds or headphones in order to take those phone calls. In my case, I use AirPods. So I simply put the AirPods in my ear as I always would, and there's enough room in the ear canal where they're not touching or creating any kind of feedback. So I've simply been using my AirPods as I always would. Now, of course, if you use over-ear headphones, that should be fine as well. And what my audiologist shared with me is that in most cases, an earbud and Lyric interacting should be just fine. The other big question I had coming into this whole experience was whether these hearing aids would be comfortable. I kind of expected that I would feel a lot of pressure in my ears. And when the devices were first put into my ears, I actually didn't feel much. It felt a lot more natural than what I was expecting. Now, unfortunately, over a couple of days, in my first couple of days wearing Lyric, I had some pressure buildup that I believe was between the devices and my eardrum. After a little while, it became uncomfortable, and so I removed the device. I went back to the audiologist, and she fit me with a size smaller. So now I have an extra small on this ear and a small on this ear. That seems to be working really well for me. What I've learned is that it's common to feel some discomfort or adjustment as you're getting used to these hearing aids in your ears. But if you're feeling pain, you should probably head back to your audiologist in order to have them take a look, potentially swap out the size, give you something different. All right, so after a few weeks of wearing this product, multiple trips to the audiologist, getting used to the feeling of Phonak Lyric in my ears, and then also the sound quality coming through my Phonak Lyric hearing aids, what are my overall thoughts? Now, in general, I think that this can be one of the most exciting products on the market for a certain person. Probably that person's priority list has certain elements at the top of it. In my mind, the perfect person for Phonak Lyric is looking for a totally invisible hearing aid that is completely out of the way. They don't want to interact with it, see it, or have anyone else see it. That person also likes to set it and forget it, put something in their ears and not go back to it for a number of weeks or maybe a couple of months. The perfect candidate for Lyric should also be ready for an adjustment period, both in the feeling of having Phonak Lyric in their ears and also the sound quality, which can be more natural, but also lets in a little bit more background noise and ambient sound because it doesn't have that digital processing that we're used to with a lot of other hearing aids on the market. Now, of course, there's some natural reasons that folks do not opt for Phonak Lyric. The first one is the cost. It's very expensive. That expense continues ongoing as it is a subscription. It also is a product that you just can't take out of your ears, and you can see that as a positive or you can see that as a drawback depending on your personal interests and tastes. There is no question that Phonak Lyric stands in a category on its own, and the experience that I've had over the last couple of weeks is really unique to all the hearing aids that I've tried. Unique sound, unique experience, and certainly unique in the sense that these hearing aids are completely out of the way. Now, before we wrap up this video, let me circle back to something I said at the top, which is that Lyric recently gained FDA approval to allow folks to change their own devices at home every other appointment. And the way it would work is that if you're comfortable, your audiologist will teach you to remove your Phonak Lyric hearing aids and then put in a new pair. You'll then go back the next appointment so they can take a look at your ears, make sure your ears are clean and healthy and ready for another couple of devices. So essentially, this new approval spaces out the appointments that are needed significantly and will increase the convenience of your Phonak Lyric experience if you decide to wear these hearing aids for the long haul. That's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed this review and good luck with your research.